Welcome back to our channel. I'm David Hicks with Revolution Golf Cars in Augusta, Georgia. This is the aftermarket IQ conversion harness that we offer in our aftermarket IQ conversion kits. This is part number 39,000. It comes from Navitas. This is a really good harness. It's kind of a universal harness. It's not specifically tailored to a factory DS application like our factory DS wiring harness would be in our factory style kit. This is more of a universal harness. It works with pretty much any throttle, and technically you could put it on any car if you want to make the wires reach, but it's cut and formed for a club car DS, and it will fit on that car. So we're going to go over this harness today. We're going to go over every connector on it to show you what it does. This harness can be used with a Curtis 1510 factory IQ controller. It can be used with the Curtis XL controller, the 1515-5201, with some minor modifications to the harness, which we can do prior to shipping. We can also use this harness with a modern Eric controller, like a controller from a modern Club Car Tempo or Club Car Precedent, which would be the 1515-5206 controller. So stay tuned and watch this video. We're going to show you what every one of these connections on this wire harness does and where to hook it up. It comes with instructions that shows all this information, but it's in black and white, and sometimes it's hard to read. So this video should be more beneficial to you than reading these instructions. So take a look and see what you think. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start at the end of the harness that plugs into the controller. So right here, we've got our 16-pin connector on the end of the harness. This is going to plug directly into your controller that is compatible with the IQ system, and that's going to be the Curtis 1510 controller. We can modify this harness to be used with a Curtis 1515-5201 or a Curtis 1515-5206. But typically what people are going to be using this harness for is to plug into an Alltrax XCT or a Navitas TSX with the Club Car IQ adapter, or a Navitas or Alltrax AC drive system. So this controller connector will plug into any of those controllers. This little pigtail that comes off of it is for your DC speed sensor. If you're using a DC motor and controller, this will plug into your speed sensor. If you're using an AC kit, you won't have a speed sensor, so this can be excluded. You won't use this little 3-pin plug at all. So we're going to go a little further down to these little wires right here, this little cluster of wires. And we're going to start right here with this red wire with the fuse on it. This red wire with the ring terminal on it is going to go on your main solenoid on the large terminal that has the same wire that comes from the positive battery terminal. So this is going to stack on that same terminal with that positive wire from the battery on that same post. You got a protection fuse here in case there's ever a short in the wire harness. This fuse will blow. And then if you look here, you've got a quick disconnect right here on this wire. So what this is for you to add a tow run switch. So when you order this kit from us, we're going to send you a tow run switch along with the proper connector to cut these connectors off and crimp the matching connector on to plug into your tow run switch. So you can put a tow run switch here and then mount it somewhere on your car. This wire right here, this little brown wire, it's really, most of you won't use this wire. This is the wire that turns the light on the dash if you have an onboard computer. The little light that turns on when the battery is weak. That's what this wire is for. This would plug into the brown wire on an onboard computer, and then the other end of this wire will connect to the light behind the dash. If you don't have an OBC and you don't have a battery warning light in the dash, then this wire won't be used. You can actually repurpose this wire for something else if you'd like, because this wire, it runs from one end of the harness to the other. So that's what the brown wire does. Okay, and then you've got this group of all these other wires with the ring terminals on them. So let's start with the one with the larger eyelet. This is a main negative harness. This is the main negative circuit for your harness. This wire with the larger ring terminal is going to connect to the B negative terminal of your controller to tie in with the main negative battery. And then you've got these three right here that are left over. So you've got a blue wire here, and you've got two blue wires here spliced into this connector. These are going to go together on the solenoid on one of the small terminals. It's going to go on the positive small terminal of the solenoid. So if you're using a controller that utilizes a diode between the two small terminals on the solenoid, you need to make sure that you put these blue ones on the positive side of the diode. And then the only other wire we got left is this little black wire with the small eyelet on it. It's going to go on the negative side of the solenoid on the opposing small terminal as the blue wires. Here we have the wires that plug into the forward and reverse switch. This is pretty straightforward. You're going to put the blue wire in the center, and the gray wire and the brown wire go on the outside pins. So it's going to go brown, blue, gray on your forward and reverse switch. We'll get down a little further, and we've got these wires right here. These wires are going to connect to your throttle. If you're using an M-Core throttle, then your wires are going to match. If you're using something different, then it may match, it may not. It depends on what you're using. So if they don't match, you can reach out to us and we'll help you with it. But if you're using an M-Core throttle, which is what we provide with these kits, all these wires are going to match in color. So you've got the blue and the green for the internal micro switch in your throttle. And then these wires here plug into the 3-pin connector on the M-Core. You got purple, white, and yellow. These are your throttle control wires. These run back to the controller to regulate the throttle output. And you can get matching connectors to put on the other end of your wires, so you can quick connect these to your M-Core wiring, or you can cut these off and use butt connectors, whatever you want to do, as long as you get it connected. Towards the front of the harness, you're going to notice you've got this cluster of wires here, and this might look a little intimidating, but it's really not. So you've got 2 wires right here that have ring terminals on them. Only 2, that's it. These go to your key switch. It doesn't matter which way you put them. The red wire is bringing power to the key switch. The blue wire is taking power from the key switch once you turn the key switch on. So if you're putting a voltage reducer or something like that is key switch triggered, you're going to trigger it on the same terminal as that blue wire. So these 2 wires go to the key switch. Then you've got a red and an orange here with a 1/4 inch female blade terminal. These 2 go to your reverse buzzer. Red to positive, orange to negative. And then you've got this black wire right here with a male bullet on it. And what this is an optional ground. If you wanted to run something like a battery gauge on your dash, this will give you an access point to tie into your main negative for your gauge. And then you've got this brown wire right here. Just like I told you earlier about the brown wire on the other end of the harness that runs to the light for the OBC to turn the battery light on and off. Probably won't be used, and you can repurpose this brown wire if you want for something else on your dash. If you just need a wire to run from one end of the car to the other for whatever reason, this brown wire is here if you want to use it. And then you've got these 2 wires right here. You got a blue wire and a red wire, and these are positive accessory wires for a gauge, meter, or whatever you want. Up there on the dash, you can even use a relay to trigger the relay when you turn on the key if you want something else to be key triggered besides a voltage reducer. So the red wire and the blue wire, the only difference in these 2 is one of them is hot all the time and one of them is hot only when the key switch is on. So the red wire is going to be constantly hot all the time. So if you hook that to a battery meter, it's going to stay on all the time. Whereas if you hook the blue wire to the positive on your battery meter, it's only going to come on when you turn on the key. So that is everything in the harness. Hopefully you understand a little bit better. And if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. This harness does come with instructions. Shown here, we put these instructions in the package with every 39,000 harness we sell. We appreciate you watching our video on the 39,000 wire harness. If you've made a purchase from us that includes this harness, we thank you for your business. If you haven't yet made a purchase, we ask you to consider us, and we'd love to help you. So if you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. info@revolutiongolfcars.com or 706-431-3917. Thank you for watching.